All right, take three. Let's see if we can actually get this one done. I have RICO, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, pulled up for no particular reason on this story, but we'll just discuss that by Britannica, Encyclopedia Britannica. It says part of an Organized Crime Control Act of 1970, the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, also known as RICO, makes it unlawful to acquire, operate, or receive income from an enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity. Now, no particular reason I have this pulled up here, but let's go down this rabbit hole. So, first things first, I'm going to talk about like in 2020, St. Louis had 87 murders per 100,000 residents. They were the number one in the country. I believe the number two in the country was Baltimore at 52 murders per 100,000 residents, and we'll get back to this a little bit. So the main thing that I caught my eye today, that former AT&T Tower in downtown St. Louis today sold to a Boston firm. The name of the firm was Goldman Group. Um, from what I could see, even though in this one it says there was no publicly disclosed numbers, I saw someplace else that it was about $3.5 million. It sold in 2020 for 4.1 million, but there's a big asterisk next to that. The company that bought it for 4.1 million, they also took on $107 million in bond debt. So okay, there's some interesting stuff going on. So a lot of times, what companies will do with these commercial buildings, they'll either let them go default and they'll just walk away because it's just cheaper and easier just to not pay the bill. Especially in these shithole cities, because they're never going to get their money back, and they just might as well get out from underneath it any way that they can. The other thing that it goes on is because these things are losses; they're just walking debt. Companies will buy them in order to use them to write off their taxes, so they don't have to pay money, right? So all this stuff's going on, but there's a little bit of a rabbit hole to this, because it seems that the last time that this building was bought, what they did is they got it listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and that allows them to get access to tax credits. And there's also a 300 million planned redevelopment going on in St. Louis, and that's going to allow them to get more access to money to redevelop the area. So the plan is right now, for the Goldman Group to turn around and develop these into apartment buildings from them being commercially zoned as office buildings. Now, part of the reason why they built this building in the first place is because cities like St. Louis and New York City, stuff like that, they have rent control, makes it like very non-profitable to be building new apartment buildings and other residential outlets for like lower and middle class. It's actually, you can get away with building high upside, upper class buildings, and then you can turn around and you can also build office buildings because you're not bound by rent control. And then eventually, because the housing market shortage gets so bad that you have to rezone the office buildings, because you have such a high homicide rate that no one wants to put their businesses into your city with such high taxes and crime, that you have to rezone it into residential apartments. Now, the other interesting thing about like this Goldman Group that I found, I believe this is one. No, it's not this one. It's this one right here. So the Goldman Group is out of Boston, and they bought these this old middle school, and they got it put on the National Historic Buildings, and then that means that they can get those good old tax dollars to redevelop this into, guess what, an apartment building. So this is the grift that's going on with these people. So the mayor of good old St. Louis, she has decided to come out and tell property owners that they're responsible for the crimes that are taking place on their property, not her and her awesome pro crime policies. This even gets even further when it comes to the good old tax dollars funnel, that's, or faucet that's being turned on for everybody, because you see here, we're all, everybody is on the hook for fixing the crime problem that's going on in St. Louis. You see that the DOJ has spent $78 million to get that 50, or to get that 87 murders per 100,000 residents down in the city of St. Louis to more of a comfortable like 40% decline from that 87 homicides per 100,000 people. It's not her policies that are getting the crime down, it's your $78 million tax credit that's going, or tax dollars that's going to this, the city of St. Louis. And this is all in order for companies to come in, buy property. Where's it at? Right here. buy property in St. Louis at essentially like, a fraction, a per 1%, 2% of the actual sale price in 2006. And you got to also remember that we have like ridiculous inflation going on in this country. So they're able to buy a building for pennies on the dollar because it's been devalued to such a point that like St. Louis is worth like 2% of what it was in 2006, and then get tax dollars to redevelop it into what it should have been in the first place, to cause or to solve a crime problem that is being federally subsidized. Like this is just out there, stupidity. Now, again, I have no reason to have put up the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, because in order for you to have a criminal conspiracy, you have to have two or more people acting in concert. Now, they don't need to know that both of each other are engaging in furtherance of the same people's plan. All they have to do is be acting criminally and then planning to move forward with their conspiracy. So again, like, I'm not saying that any of this is occurring. What I'm saying is these people are massively incompetent and engaging in, like, at the best, the waste of tax dollars to solve a problem that they already created themselves.